When I was 16, I went out and bought those cheap foam things that you see on Amazon. I didn't know why. I saw all my favorite musicians use them, so I figured that they were probably important. Spoiler alert, they weren't. They were garbage. They did nothing for my room's acoustics. It just looked like bad modern art. Fast forward to now, I've slowly been building my dream studio piece by piece with some of the coolest gear that I can get my hands on. But none of that fancy gear really matters if my room still sounds like empty garbage. So today we'll be circling back around to the essentials and talking about acoustics.
Look, I can't be mad at you. I don't like that hot and cold. It's bullshit again.
You've probably seen one of those YouTube videos floating around promising pro-level audio acoustic panels for like $10, $25. And yeah, I've seen them too. And I'm hooked. Real acoustic panels are expensive. They can cost you anywhere from $75 to $500, and it all depends on shape, size, coloring. Music gear in general is stupidly overpriced, and I kind of live by the philosophy of I owe it to myself to do it if I can do it myself. I'm like obligated to. In this economy, I'm a cheapskate. I'll end up walking to class before I'll ever pay for student parking. The education system's already taken enough from me. So, do you actually need acoustic panels? Well, that really all depends on your room. I live in a basement with pretty bare walls and no absorption around me except for the canvases you see. And those don't really do a good a job as you think they might. See, sound bounces off of walls, floors, and ceiling, causing reverb and echo. And that's bad news if you're trying to mix or record. Acoustic panels help by absorbing some of that sound, giving you a nice, professional, clean tone when recording. While canvas does absorb sounds, the problem comes with the actual paint. I use acrylics. And while canvas absorbs sounds, acrylics reflects them. A good acoustic panel will be able to absorb sound effectively without letting it hit straight through and reflect off the wall. So in order to make a good acoustic panel, we're going to be needing wood, fabric, insulation, hammer, nails, staples. Now let's be real for a second. I'm not a skilled craftsman. My total woodworking experience is zilch, nada. I figured this was as good a time as any to try something new, and if I crash and burn, I did it for the vine. The first stop on our list of materials is insulation and wood, which we can find at the land of the free and the home of the depot. It's where the working class man and capitalism shake hands, a Father's Day paradise. The first insulation I found was made out of fiberglass and cost way more than I was willing to pay. Not only that, but everybody on the internet told me it's dangerous and said that I should get something called rock wool instead. This stuff was like $30 and looks like more or less what I needed. Watching back on this footage, I wish I had done my homework. That is called foreshadowing. Next, I found some wood. I decided to go with 4 planks of 8-foot oak because it's super sturdy and does well against rot and decay. I know next to nothing about wood, but I do know that this wood was very expensive and my wallet did not like that very much. It was also ridiculously heavy. After checking out, our current total is $113.43. Already pretty close to the initial budget of what I projected this project to be. The closest fabric store to me was Joann's, which is great because they're going out of business. Well, not so great that they're going out of business, it just means cheaper fabric prices for me. This store is like a treasure trove. I found so many cool colors and patterns. It gave me the same kind of vibe of when you go through a Michaels. In a good way, I love Michaels. Change of plans, look at this shit. For people questioning how I choose the fabric, the general rule of thumb is if you can breathe through it, you can capture the sound. I ended up settling on 3 different fabric colors, a corduroy tan, a stitched gray, and a super slick, kind of worn zebra pattern. The current total after the fabric haul was $40, so much for going out of business. After getting home, I started to measure out the wood. The game plan is to do 2 massive 2.5 foot by 4 foot panels, and the scrap wood could be used for a smaller acoustic panel. Never actually used this machine before. My heart's kind of racing. Like I said, this was my first time ever using a melter saw, so if there's some woodworking weirdos watching, save your anger for someone that's a bit more deserving. Whoa! I cut wood! Whoa! Next, I started hammering away. I didn't have a nail gun, so I just kept smashing wood against nails like our forefathers before us. My only regret is that I didn't use wood glue to hold them all in place. I didn't even think to do it, I just kept painstakingly smashing nails into oak until the frame fit snug into place. into oak. Why'd I say it like that? I started trimming up the fabric, and using a staple gun, I kind of went nuts. While pulling as hard as I could, I wrapped the fabric over and pinched down, kind of like you're gift wrapping a present. This was probably my favorite part of the whole process. There was something just so therapeutic. It's hard to put into words. After the big zebra, I started to work on punching in the stitched gray panel. This one was a lot trickier to get right. The fabric was quite a bit thicker than I expected, and I ended up folding it in on itself to get that kind of clean edge look. Outfit change. Looks like I just came out of a time machine from 2018. You might find this overkill, but I find dust to be very scary. I don't want to die from it personally. If you're following along with this at home, I hope you don't die. In order to treat insulation, here's what we're going to be using. Got some glasses, I got some gloves, long sleeve shirt, and a good old mask. All right, Jesse, let's cook. I don't think I have enough insulation. While trying to open up this package of insulation, my first red flag was that it was one giant block. For some reason, I thought that they would come in like thinner slabs. Again, make sure to properly do your research before embarking on expensive DIY projects that are not in your field. All around me, bits and pieces were crumbling at the slightest touch, and the dread of realizing I severely messed up this project was starting to sink in.
How about the wrong kind of insulation? All right. Fuck me. I think I have to go back to the store and get the right kind of insulation. What am I supposed to do with this? Alrighty. Insulation take 2.
Throughout this entire process, I was so happy to be able to cut through something with such ease, but also having it fit near perfect into the frame that I had made for it. I didn't get it on camera, but I ended up flipping the insulation so I wasn't breathing in the stuff when trying to hang it on my walls. To hang up the panels, I ended up using some hooks and some wires I had lying around. I think the mount set me back another $15 for those keeping track and wanting to embark on this journey. This is what my room sounds like before acoustic treatment. Test 1, test 2. Test 3, test 4. Yeah. This is a sound test with acoustic treatment. Bop, bop, bop. Ah. 1, ah. Also, I got new lights today, so things are about to look really, really cool soon. So, after all of this, was it worth it? Kinda. I mean, don't get me wrong, it definitely helped. Anything would have helped my room sound less like an empty parking garage. But after tallying up all the costs, I realized something. I probably could have spent the same amount on Sweetwater and saved myself the labor costs. I mean, what labor costs? It's just me in my bedroom. Not including that little rock wall hiccup. We spent $110 on wooden insulation, $40 on fabric, $15 on mounting, making this a $165 DIY project. Now, if you divide that by 3 panels, you could argue that each panel is worth $55, but that's not including extra materials or labor. But here's the thing. I actually enjoyed this project, stepping out of my comfort zone and trying something entirely different. It was fun. Is that what they call it? And in all honesty, I don't think I would appreciate these panels as much had I not made them. There's something inherently satisfying about seeing and hearing the results of your work. And of course, the best part about this entire process is I can hear the difference. For the past 2 days of living with my DIY acoustic treatment, I've been listening to music, watching movies, studying, and everything that comes from my monitors is just enjoyable. Not everything in my room is covered, by the way. I still have a nasty corner over there, but we're not gonna talk about that. The sound difference has been significantly cleaner. So if you are considering going out and doing this by yourself, first off, plan, prepare yourself for setbacks. But I think that the end results kind of speak for themselves.
Look, I can't be mad at you. I don't like that hot and cold. This bullshit getting old. I don't know the fuck you saw, but you just pointed it out. You don't like to watch your mouth. All that little talk is cheap, but you love to run that mouth. Man, sometimes I don't get you. The shoes don't really fit you. The hoes don't really get you. I'm moaning, I wish the issue. I don't wanna hear no explanation. Lately, I've been doing better. Yeah. Don't worry.
Thank you for watching to the end. I always love trying out new stuff, and this was a super fun project. If you have any questions or video ideas, please leave them in the comments. I read them. Never stop creating, keep pushing those boundaries, and I will see you in the next video.